All right, let's talk about declaring scope in the Supercollider environment. So basically, as I mentioned in the last tutorial, you can evaluate different sections of code. So you don't have to run everything all at once and compile everything all at once. In this programming environment, you can choose different bits of code to evaluate at any given time. Supercollider uses these parentheses to declare a scope. So in other words, you can have chunks of code that you want to evaluate, just like other environments that evaluate everything at the same time. But you just declare that scope using these parentheses. Okay. So if I want to do a number of things, maybe declare a variable, and then declare a couple variables, and then have some kind of equation. Okay, and then, or let's see, have a variable equation, something like that, and then maybe have some kind of function. And I'll cover all these things eventually, slowly, but right now this is just to get an idea of scope. Let's see. Okay. So then if I want to evaluate all that, I evaluate everything at the same time. It evaluates everything within these parentheses. So anywhere, as long as my cursor is blinking and not highlighted, it'll evaluate everything within that scope. All right. So it has all these functions. So if I go outside the scope somewhere here and say go A, it'll return 4 right there, because A is equal to 4 now. If I do D, it'll return a function. If I go d with dot value, it'll return 9, which is a plus b, which is 9. Okay, don't worry about so much right now what the functions and everything are. Just understand that this now is the scope. So you can have several chunks of code and work it out, and then have a scope there. You can have functions, you can have various things going on. When your code gets very complicated, these things start helping. And also you'll notice later on in most of the things you do, so like if you will learn about synth defs, and those always are contained within a scope there within these parentheses. So everything, synth def tells you what's coming in the next bit of scope, or the next little bit within these parentheses, but then those parentheses define everything that's going to have a synth def. And you'll notice that within these things like synth defs or various commands that we do, the IDE will autofill things, so it'll tell you everything that's meant to go in the scope. So the first thing will be the name, the next thing will be this UGenGraph function, next thing rates, etc., etc. So in any case, parentheses are very useful, and it's just a good idea to understand their meaning and use within the Supercollider environment. It can be declared scope weight to organize your own code, and also it's used internally within Supercollider to organize various definitions and functions, and what we'll learn of as UGens. And then that scope has a very specialized function, has very specialized slots to put in what we'll call arguments. Okay, well that's enough for scope for now.